Well, I'm in Pocatello, Idaho, and you see the crane just getting ready to move again, because all these pieces to the right, like where I'm looking at, those two big pieces and then that arm from an excavator, they just came off those trucks over there. And now it's the turn of this guy over here. He has a big track that weighs about 60,000 pounds. And then after this guy, there's another guy with a similar track. And then it's my turn. Uh-oh, the guy shut off his engine. That's not a good sign. Time now 1:30 Eastern, so what, 11:30? Okay, I guess they're going for the break. Yeah, all of us here just pretty much showed up at the same time. Oh no, he has two engines. Jesus, he has one engine for the crane, and he has another engine for the actual truck that drives the crane. So he shut off the crane's engine. Yeah, now he's ready to leave because there's no space left there. But one curious thing, yeah, and there's like two trucks after me. So as I wanted, you know, I got up at 4:30. Actually, I wanted to get up at 5, but it was getting cold, so I got up from cold at 4:30. Yeah, all this used machinery is next to me here. So this looks like it's a, yeah, Komatsu dealer. Wow, look at this one. It's a big Komatsu truck. Probably used to be owned by this N.A. Degerstrom Inc. Now they're all back here. I suspect these are all the machines from that mine. So anyway, yeah, I got up at 4:30, couldn't sleep, and I look at my cell phone clock. It says 4:30. Hey, I might as well get up because it's 6:30 Eastern time, and I felt quite rested. So I went into that gas station across the street. It was open all night. Got some coffee. Oh, by the way, there was a casino next door to that gas station. And guess what? I went in yesterday, like after I did all my paperwork for today. You know, prepared everything so that now as soon as I am loaded and they sign, I can scan and email everything, and I'm paid on Wednesday. Today's Monday. And then once I did my paperwork, I decided, hey, maybe I should. How much can I lose? I decided $20. You know, they say that's important. When you're gonna play, just set an amount that you're prepared to lose. You know, don't go to win. Now, of course I want to win, but I mean, I'm not gonna lose more than $20. So I go there, and I ask them which slots, which machines can I play for $1. And she says, hey, over there, like, and they're all like computer machines. You know, there's no handle, no, there's not those old-fashioned like one-arm bandits, right? Just the button. It's a computer. So I started playing. Like $1 was like 5 cents bet, 18 bets, and I lost maybe, I don't know, $5, and all of a sudden I won $67. $67. And she gave me. She says, "What would you like to drink?" Okay, so what do you have? And she shows me. I say, "Hey, I'll take a Miller Lite. That's the one with minimum amount of carbs." Beer, very light beer, highly recommended. So I had a free beer, so I lost. I put $20 in the machine, and I cashed out 67. Okay, I gave $2 to the server, right? But still, like, you know, you go in with $20, you leave with 65. I think that's a good deal. All right. So anyway, so I started driving. There was a whole bunch of deer on the road. I almost hit one, but I was already doing like 50 kilometers an hour. It was just entering Twin Falls, I think, Twin Falls, Montana. And this thing was just walking, you know, whistling, looking around, trying to find probably some grass. But I didn't hit it. And I made one stop in DuBois, Idaho. Went through a scale. They didn't say anything, you know. Height-wise and weight-wise, I'm like perfectly legal. All right. So I go in here. Went to the cat dealer where I picked up some machinery for the same Kapuskasing mine a couple of years ago. I went there and they said, no, this stuff unloads down the road here. This used machinery dealer. So I go here and there's a whole bunch of trucks parked, you know, and I saw the crane. That's the first indication that you know, you're at the right place, because if there's no crane, then you're in trouble, because it takes a few days to order a crane. But oh, one good thing, cool thing I wanted to say is that you see that track, right? That's 60,000 pounds, so you must have a permit. And that guy behind me, all these guys are Admiral Merchants trucks, Admiral Merchants. But then the guy, I don't know if you can see this track at the far end there, on the other side of that blue Freightliner with a step deck, there's a, you can see a piece of a track, the same one as this one. There's a Western Star, and it's also Landstar Inway, and talked to the guy, he's from Manitoba, and been with Landstar for 20 years, and his truck is 12 years old, and he says it was the last one built in Canada. And he says he's keeping it. You know, has an old cat, single turbo, beautiful. But he already replaced the radiator, I mean the hood, because he hit a cable that was holding a pole. I don't know if he hit the pole, but he said the cable cut through his radiator. Well, not the radiator, but the, you know, the hood. But he said he was paid gross. Well, Landstar posted that load for 9,000 bucks, so he's getting percentage, right? But these guys are getting 12,000. You know, for the same load. And I said, how come? And he said, well, Admiral Merchants, they make more money, you know. Well, the guy came over and they asked me to move. And now you can see the Western Star in the front with a big track. That's the guy I was talking about. He's in front of me. I'm next. And these guys, these black Freightliner, see, they're all Admiral Merchants. So these guys are after me. I hope they're not trying to cut in. Yeah. Yeah, but one last thing I forgot to mention is that, of course, these are all parts of the same machine. Can you imagine? So it's a Komatsu used excavator. So these are all the stuff that sits on top. See, that's the bucket, right? That's the top of the cab, and I have the base of that cab, and that's the track, right? And there's another track over there. See? So it's all part of the same huge excavator. But I hope my part is the most important, because that's a power module, that's the engine. Without this, it won't be able to work. Now that Landstar guy, the one with the track, driving the old Western Star, he's from Manitoba, and he said he used to live near London, Ontario. And you know, I talked to him because he's clearly has a lot of experience doing this, and he has the same pretty much trailer, 3-axle step, only his axle spread is 10 feet, because he's from Manitoba. Over there they don't get extra weight like we do in Ontario if you have a 12-foot Tridem. But I wish I would have gotten, you know, shorter spread, because this one, it just axles are too far. It's easy to overload one axle. I already learned that. And you cannot go above 20, and plus when I'm empty, the rear axle keeps bouncing, right? And this guy says, hey, it's not legal to lift an axle, and then he still showed me a trick. He welded a couple of hooks on the axle, and he has a chain, and he just installed a couple of, you know, like $2 valves, just you know, cut the line to each bag on the rear axle, and hid the valve right there, so you cannot see it. If you like an inspector, you go look under, all you see is a chain. So okay, so there's a chain, and so I'm gonna do the same thing. But he did it himself, but at least now I have a very clear idea how to do this. But he has a 10-foot Tridem, right? And he still said that his rear axle was catching the ground, you know. So mine is 12 foot, so because he says that thing only raises the wheel by like 2-3 inches, you know. So you can basically kill your tires. So I'm still thinking if I should do that or not. But I mean, everyone lifts one axle, because especially when you're empty, it just kills your fuel mileage. You know, you're dragging all those tires on the ground. But one interesting thing about this guy is that he has 2 trailers. So he has this 3-axle step deck, all steel with wooden floor. And he said he bought it new like in 2004 and just repainted it and sandblasted and put new wood. And he used pine, which is cheaper, but it's all wood. And he also has a extendable double drop with the lift axle, like 2 axle plus 1. And I said, oh, so using that, you're probably making a lot of money. And he said, actually, I have not used that trailer since last year. I said, what? And he says, well, I'm in Manitoba. He says, all big outfits, you know, like trucking outfits in Alberta, Saskatchewan. He said a couple of years ago, they all went out, and they bought a whole bunch of these double drop and RGN trailers, you know, big trucking companies in Western Canada. And because there's no freight coming out of there, so they basically haul it for free, you know, like very cheap. So he says he cannot compete with them, so he just keeps that trailer parked, you know. And he's using only this one, 3-axle step deck. Like I was really surprised to hear that, you know, because I thought the lowboy, you know, especially triaxle lowboy is you know, is my lottery ticket. That's how I can make money, get back in the black. Well, at least I'm in Ontario, you know. I'm hoping the situation where I'm running, I'm staying like closer to here to Midwest, you know. I don't have to find loads out of Manitoba, Saskatchewan. There's no loads there anyway. Because you see, he lives in Manitoba, and he went probably what, 500 miles? No, probably even more, to get that piece, to get that load. But that load pays $9,000, right? So it was worth it. And he said the funny thing is that they did not wash that thing, even though they're supposed to, like the shipper, because there's a whole bunch of little rocks, you know, and dirt. And I said, did they give you any trouble at the weigh station? Because they don't like seeing those rocks, because they can fly off and, you know, crack a windshield or kill a deer or something. And he said, no, at the weigh station I had no trouble, but at the border, he said, they stopped me, and turns out that dirt is radioactive. So that's what kind of shit we're dealing with here as truckers, you know. So he said the guy went out, get out of his booth, got that Geiger gauge, and was walking around measuring, and then they called some people trying to find out if it's okay. So evidently the radiation was very low because it's natural rock, right? There was a phosphate mine, so they let him go. But see, so this guy is making money with a 3-axle step deck trailer, same as mine, only he has a wooden floor. And actually, he's that big track, 60,000 pounds, he just loaded it right on the floor. I said, you didn't want to put in some 4x4s under? Or he says, no, because that thing is pretty wide and it sits right on his main beams in the middle of the trailer. So I really like, you know, the wood floor. It's really great. Except, of course, that would add weight. Like his trailer, he has all steel wheels. All 12 wheels are steel. And he said with a wooden floor, he can do 45,000 pounds. And I'm pretty sure his truck is heavier than mine, because he has a steel cab. I have aluminum cab. And for some reason, my trailer is heavier, because I can do like, I think 44.9, you know. And my wheels are aluminum, and my floor is aluminum, so something is amiss here. Anyway, let's look around. What do we have here? Okay, on this side, oh, we have the same Komatsu trucks, 3-axle. You see they have 2-axle single tires in the back. And I'm sitting next to this big Cat 988H. That's a machine, you know. I saw some of these hauled by double drop trailers, and I think a couple of times I saw them like brand new. Of course, they remove the bucket because otherwise it's too wide, and sometimes they even remove the tires, and the whole thing sits on blocks. They put blocks under the axles, and then they stack the tires. They probably weigh like 1 ton. Let's look at the size there. The size on the sidewall says 35/65 R33. What? I have no idea what that is. but it is big. Steel V-Steel radial. Oh no, wait a second, Bridgestone. On this side it says Bridgestone. But it's a very nice 35 65 R33. What is, what is that? Half a kilometer? I don't know. Anyway, but that thing probably weighs, okay, let me guess. I'm guessing there's a counterweight here. Huge bucket, 988H. I think I hold a bucket once from this. Yeah, and the bucket weighed like 10,000 pounds. So the whole thing, I'm pretty sure it's about 80,000 pounds, the whole machine. You know, and it's very tall. That's what you haul on a double drop trailer. Alright, what are they doing over there? So that guy moved the crane, and the guy with the track, I see he's using a double drop trailer. He moved the double drop trailer. What are they doing? They're trying to find chains. No, he moved chains. Oh, okay, and they're trying to find where to put the hooks. But the crane is still down. See? Oh, Jesus. Taking these guys forever, you know. And I still have one truck ahead of me. And now I have to find a load back quickly. I cannot wait too long. That's what I'll probably do now. Just open my laptop and check out what the load board says, because this is a Thanksgiving week. Friday, no one is going to be working. And today's Monday. I have only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to find a load, get the hell out of here. And I'm not going to Western Canada. Forget it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's check the load board. So my buddy with the Western Star is finally getting unloaded. So the crane is hooked to his, the crane is hooked to his 60,000 pound track. And it goes up. But what I saw with the previous one, there's a big slack. Like he keeps, you know, raising the thing, but the lowest part of the track just keeps, you know, going down. Oh wow, now it's even turning. Right on his wooden floor. And now he just drives under. Because yeah, this thing, it's no joke, you know, 60,000 pounds, 30 imperial tons. And that guy doesn't want to lift it more than he has to, so he just drops it on the ground right there. And I'm next. Well, the crane guys took a break. Someone called them from inside this machinery place. They said, "We got some chicken for you." I said, "Okay, sure." So they went to grab some chicken. So I took all the chains off, so I'm all ready. And I backed like this to the crane, the way they told me, right? And I'm looking at my truck. Oh, and I dumped the air from the suspensions on both the truck and trailer, you know, not to damage the airbag. See how low my fenders sit? That means that there's no air in the airbags. Well, actually, oh yeah, see, they're loose. But I'm looking at my truck. Jesus, it's so dirty. Look at this. That's what happens when you go to, you know, Western Canada or tundra. Well, it doesn't have to be Western Canada, but I was driving in the field on the dirt road, right? Oh, and by the way, I took a closer look at that Western Star guy's step deck, because I was just trying to figure out how come my upper deck flexes more with a 40,000 pound load, right? The one I had before, those concrete panels, and I still noticed it was flexing, right? how come my upper deck flex is more than his with a 60,000 pound track? And we just compared the length. His is the same, 11 feet, but actually his kingpin was even worse than mine. Mine is 18. See, mine is somewhere there, right? So 18 inches, I thought that was the problem. No, on his trail it's like 16 or 12. And his trail is Doppker, like a German name. And then we looked at the metal here. See this gooseneck? And turns out my metal is actually thicker. Like over here, this is like half an inch almost. His was only 3/8, and then here his metal was thinner because we compared. That's why his trailer is lighter, because I have more metal. So basically, mine is a better trailer, I would say, for heavier loads. The only thing that is better on his trailer, and his trailer is he said what, 2004? Mine is 2014, right? The only thing that's different is this angle here. See this? Because these are two pieces here. The gooseneck is connected like that. See all these seams? That's where it's welded to the frame. But this angle here, look how steep it is. This is like 90%, 90 degrees, right? On his trailer, this thing goes like this, you know? It's much more kind of shallow, and that's what keeps the end of the gooseneck down, you know. That's the only thing I could figure out. Nothing else. So good metal, unless of course they use some kind of weird way to, you know, maybe like the metal is thicker but it's not stronger, you know. It depends how they make this metal, but you know, it's transcraft. They build millions of trailers. I think that's the problem here, this design of this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop by a body shop and maybe see if they can weld something in here, you know, make this, I don't know, put like some kind of a shape here, you know, and just weld it in. What can it damage here? Nothing, right? Just put a, that shouldn't add too much weight, but it might make the gooseneck stronger. And the cab base is going up, hopefully. No, it goes down. Okay, attempt number 2. The rear goes up. Oh, and the bottom does not touch the trailer. Beautiful. See this thing, it has a massive steel on the front, like facing me. That's why it's moving. Yeah, so they're taking this piece and then they're gonna lift this one, and I guess I'm just driving from under it, and they're gonna dump it right here on the ground. They said this old crane that's lifting this piece is capable of hoisting 75,000 pounds. Alright, now it's the turn for the big thing. I even helped them attach the straps, climb on the top, and it's up and away. There we go. Now I'll just drive under it, from under it.